Over to you, Seb.
Yep, give me a sec. I forgot I need to get my notes on my phone. Bum, bum, bum,
Right, I'll take over. Welcome to Goats. We're doing fucking superheroes.
Fuck off,
and that,
you
mate.
little turd burglar.
We are three white guys, and this is Goats.
Is turd burglar a gay slur?
Turd burglar.
I think so.
Let's cut that out. Just cut it out just in case.
I'd rate it with like fudge packet, yeah.
Okay.
Why is it?
Well,
Because you go into a man's arsehole digging for turds.
yes.
Yeah.
I think that's the general idea.
Turd burglar. What the
Anyway.
Can't say turd burglar.
Excelsior, Goaticals, and welcome to this, the greatest podcast on earth, Goats. Before we get started, don't forget you can see all manner of funny things on our Instagram at _goats_pod. You can also do us a massive solid and leave us a 5-star review on your podcast player. That shit really helps, dogs. And if you're totally flush for cash, you can drop us some financial support on Patreon, which is down in the description of this episode. As usual, I'm joined by two pretty super guys. Mork and Vinny, have you been up to anything heroic this week?
No.
Can you see my eyes rolling? I'm trying to do it so much. It's like audible.
You're a hero to me, Mork. Don't worry.
Thanks. Have I been doing anything heroic? No. Certainly not.
Have you ever done anything heroic, do you think, Mork?
Oh, yeah.
What'd
I
you
saw
do?
you slowed down for a cat the other day.
Really? That's not like you at all.
I know. And I stopped when a cyclist nearly crashed into me. And he was going to crash into me. I should just fucking let him do it and killed him. But I didn't. I was a good boy and I stopped. I shouted at him. Because he was like going to turn right off this road and then just randomly just started cut the corner and just came straight towards me. Paid no attention and then just swerved right out of the way again and just got completely oblivious.
You didn't kill him.
So I was like, you fucking wanker.
What a hero.
Yeah, so I didn't kill him, so yeah, I think very heroic.
Nice. Vinny, anything heroic?
No.
Why don't we? We'll crack on with the episode in a sec, and we'll come back to this and we'll say, give yourself some time to think. What's the most? We'll say at the end of the show, you can say what the most heroic thing you've ever done is.
Oh, I know what mine is. It's
What?
I saved all these orphans once from this orphanage that was burning down.
Oh,
Yeah, but
yeah.
that's
So heroic.
That's because you. It was just a coincidence it burned down.
Should I cut that?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'll put a little note down, don't worry.
Anyway, look, at the end of the show, we'll come back and we'll say the most heroic things we've ever done. But for now,
Okay.
I think it's probably time, just because of how long the last one went on, it's probably time we crack on with this week's episode. Now, just give me a quick second while I do a little bit of prep work.
A bit of prep work. What, you're writing your script right now?
No, I'm just saying something else. All right. Come on, give me a sec.
Oh, for fuck. What's he fucking done now? He's fucking Spider-Man's gonna pop out in a sec. Guarantee it.
This podcast has been taken over by me, Kangalang the Destroyer. I am the most evil being in the universe, and I can only be defeated by Earth's mightiest heroes. So I put it to you. Bring me the 3 greatest superheroes on planet Earth, or you will die.
Fucking hell, I wish you spoke
Sorry,
like that
yeah,
all the
but-
time, actually. I
sorry,
prefer
it's
that
just-
voice to your normal voice.
Sorry, I was just setting something up back there. Did anything happen when I was gone?
Well, your right arm was
No.
moving around a bit.
I got electrocuted.
Right. Nice.
So, as what was his name, Kangalang the Destroyer, just let us know. We have very terrifyingly been
Black
given
Betty, Kangalang. Oh, Black Kangalang.
we have very worryingly, but I guess it's an honor, been given the task of picking the top 3 fictional superheroes of Earth to defend the planet against his upcoming invasion. Now, obviously, the last time we did this, it went on for fucking ages. So, so we're going to keep it short. I'm going to be in charge of just making sure there's no specific time. If you start waffling, I'll cut you off. Right.
Right.
So just be rapido. Emphasis on the rapid.
Okay.
So who wants? Anyway, So I've talked for. I've talked. So I've spoken for the last 5 minutes, so I think it's probably fair that one of you guys gives us your first of 2 picks for who you think is one of the greatest superheroes of all time.
Me.
All right.
Go for it, Walk.
Because I got a little intro as well, so it just put us in a good
So my
frame of
intro
mind,
was
I
good enough?
reckon. No, but it's an intro from my perspective on superheroes. I think it might resonate with all of us. I don't know.
I hate superheroes, me. I bet it's going to start with that.
How can you? I'm logged into my own Google Docs. Have you read that? Okay, let me start. Oh, fucking hate superheroes, me.
You fucking hate everything, that's why.
Well, okay, I will actually do it properly, but
Okay.
you were close. You were close.
So really?
Not really, but superheroes for me, I'm a bit meh on them.
Right.
So not quite, I fucking hate superheroes, me. But some of them I have loved over the years. But for example, I fucking can't stand the MCU, okay? I'm sorry, I know it's fucking cool to hate on it, and I'm cynical, and you're just on with the trend of it's so cool to hate something everyone loves. It's like, no, I just don't like it. I loved the first run of movies like Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Thor was meh. There was another one in there. Captain America was okay, whatever. But I remember me and Vinny, particularly, we were fucking hyped for the Avengers. Like, never seen that kind of scale movie done before. Like, bringing them all together. Fucking, hyped. Watched it. Fucking, wow, brilliant, amazing, loved it. Absolutely loved it. I was an MCU fanboy. But then after 30-something films, I was like, fuck this shit. Because it just got really tired. It's the same old tropes over and over. Same storyline. Good guy finds his powers, meets his nemesis, defeats him, or loses his powers a little bit, meets a new nemesis. I couldn't be bothered with a 39 sequel movie thing that's not called Godzilla.
Right.
So it might seem that I'm a fucking hero hater, but there are some that I do still love, and I even have a superhero tattoo, which either isn't or is as cringe as it sounds. But regardless,
It is cringe.
my first pick for today is a very simple one, and he's almost definitely going to make the top 3, is my prediction. It is the Dark Knight himself, Batman, or the Batman. I was trying to see whether it is actually the Batman, but I think it's just Batman. I'm not sure.
Batman, John Batman.
John Batman. So, Peter B. Batman, Mr. John Peter Batman. Peter Clark Batman is... No. No.
It's obviously
me-
Bruce. It's Bruce Batman. We all know it's Bruce Batman.
Bruce Batman.
Yeah, Bruce Batman. Yeah. Bruce Batman. But for me, peak Batman, and I think probably everybody, if we're being honest, unless you're really trying to be like, oh no, mate, it wasn't that good. Peak Batman is the Dark Knight trilogy. In it. Let's all agree. Peak Batman's the Dark Knight trilogy. So that's the Batman I have in my mind. Vinny's like, oh no, mate, I love that one with the nipples and that. Oh, I love like Adam West and that, mate. Robert Pattinson. Oh, I love Twilight and that. No, it's not. It's Christopher Nolan's Batman's the best. And
I'd say the second one was good.
Well, the Begins was decent.
The first one's kind of boring. The third one's alright.
Okay,
the third one's alright. But the second one's really
the second
good,
one. The second one's one of the best films ever made. The third one is really good, I think, still. And the first one's like, yeah, it's okay, but it doesn't have the name The Dark Knight. It just says Batman Begins, whereas it's really like a duology.
Batman Begins.
Yeah, like I would say if you just ignore Batman Begins, you can just, that's the Dark Knight movies really, because it's got fucking Dark Knight in the title, and they're fucking sick, right? And I just love the dark tones. And the why I love Batman is he's not some like overpowered monster. It doesn't actually have any real superpowers. And it just makes the stakes a lot higher. Like, it really does. Like, when he comes up against a fucking strong villain, you can't just laser beam them in the face. He's not invincible. He's not, like, I can't get behind a Superman film or a superhero who's he's literally invincible. Oh yeah, but a glow and rock and that. Nah, he's literally invincible. 99% of the people he fights don't even bother watching the movie. He's not gonna lose. He's fucking invincible. Whereas with Batman, he's not invincible. He's just a regular bloke with like bare cash and that, and a fancy rubber suit who's good at punching people. So it really does make the stakes a lot higher. Like, there's actual jeopardy, and he's got to figure out a way to win, which I fucking love. So I've got a couple little headings, and I'll just fucking freestyle them. The costume. The costume's fucking sick, right? It's dark.
Yeah,
not
specifically the one with the nipples.
Like, not necessarily the nipple one, but he's had loads of costumes over the years. Like, even in the animated shows, he's got some sick costumes. He's got fucking little bat ears. He's got the cowl over his face. He's got like fucking sharp blades on his arms. He's got like a six pack, you know. He's got a fucking cape. It's a really cool suit. Like, I love it. It's not too cheesy. It's not too over the top. It's not massively believable, but it's not really far-fetched as well. If you saw Geezer out on the streets kicking the shit out of people dressed that, yeah, sure, whatever. The voice, iconic. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. It's fucking Gotham killing time.
That's just the Dark Knight Batman, though.
Yeah, I know, but that's the Batman. Well, no, in Batman versus Superman, didn't Ben Affleck do a I'm Batman, and Robert Pattinson did a I'm Batman as well? Everyone's fucking Batman.
Did they? I never watched them.
I'm pretty sure AVGN, he's a great Batman. I'm Batman.
Yeah, because that's the Dark Knight Batman. But yeah,
I'm gonna kick the shit out of you, Joker. Fucking asshole.
Classic Batman lines.
But like, he's got a voice. Do you know what I mean? He's got something that is like synonymous.
Yeah.
With him. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's Superman sound like?
Hello, I'm Superman.
I'm Clark Kent.
Hello.
What does
Batman.
What does Iron Man sound like?
Hello, I'm
regular
Iron Man.
blokes. That's what I'm saying. These are regular blokes. You can't be like, I'm Iron Man. But you can with Batman. That's fucking great. That's sick.
I honestly, mate, by the third film, I found his voice so silly. I genuinely find it really silly. Like, it's so. Where's the trigger? Tell me where.
No, that's the best bit. Where is he?
I thought it was so silly. I'm not gonna lie.
Have you seen the meme where she turns around? Like, you know, there's the famous bit. I think it's in The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises, where he's on the top of the roof, and then I think it's Catwoman like turns back and he's gone. She like turns away and then turns back and he's gone.
Yeah,
they do that, but they cut it so you hear him go like, ah, as he jumps off the thing. It's like really good.
So good, yeah. But whether you think it's shit, whether you think it's cool, I'm in between. It is iconic. Like, it's an iconic voice, right?
So are you just talking about I'm just really confused. Are you just talking about the Batman from The Dark Knight Rises? Like, are you just talking about?
Not really. I'm talking about Batman as a whole. But my favorite and the bits that I think that make him really epic is the portrayal in The Dark.
Right. Okay.
Kind of forget about Adam West. That's not for me.
Adam West was great. I some days you just
If
can't
you
get rid
like
of a
that, you like
bomb. It's funny.
But with Batman,
I love
there's a little
Adam
bit of
West.
everything.
Adam West's
If
the
you
best
love that,
Batman.
that's great.
Adam West
That's
is
fine
the
then.
best Batman.
Batman's even cooler because he's got like multiple little personalities. He's always got sick gadgets as well. He's got fucking like batarangs that will like launch them. He's got fucking grappling hooks. He's got some other shit. He's got bombs on his belt. He's
a
got
bit
wicked
like-
stuff.
He's a bit like James Bond of the superhero world in that regard.
Yes. He is a little bit. Yeah, he's got
It's
sick
quite cool
gadgets.
like that as well.
He is cool. He is cool.
I'd put him as like a solid B. You know, B for Batman.
Big.
Butman.
B for
Well,
Batman.
I'll let you know just now, every single list I saw, like there was like top 100 by like IGN or some shit, they have Batman number 1 pretty much every single time.
Well, fuck IGN.
Just
I'm
saying.
not IGN. I don't give a shit.
Other than gadgets, he's got fucking vehicles as well. And he's got some sick vehicles because he's not like some cunt like Superman who flies around all the time. Fucking boring.
Man.
He's got the Batmobile, and he's got loads of iconic Batmobile. Every Batmobile is fucking iconic. The Tumbler, like the 1986 Batmobile, the Michael Keaton one, they're all sick. Even the Rob Pattinson one looks cool. They're all sick. The Batmobile is fucking sick. He's got a Bat motorbike. He's got a Bat wing, fucking airplane, various shit. And they make sick Lego models of all of these cool Batman vehicles. You can't get that with Superman because it can't flies. Do you know what I'm saying? Batman has got sick stuff that you can relate to. That is all a big collective package. That's all sick about him.
When
Fights. Yeah.
When you mentioned the Batmobile, it just reminded me of I'm pretty sure it was us three when we went to Creamfields in 2015 or
Yes.
16.
Yes.
When we were going home, like everyone was like walking to the cars, you know, the festival's over, and we just hear this one dude over and over again say, "To the Batmobile!" And his friends
It wasn't
looked-
that tone of voice though.
What was it?
It was
like?
this tone of voice. To the Batmobile.
No, it wasn't like that. It was.
Yes, it was. He was so jugged up. His voice had gone.
Yeah, because he kept Batman.
But his friends, his friends turned around and were like, "Yeah, he's driving us home."
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
He was still fucked. He's just absolutely fucked in the air, stumbling out to the Batmobile, and these girls
just
look
kept on saying
terrified.
it over and over again as well. It's so funny.
Yeah, it was so good. Exactly, the Batmobile is fucking iconic. He wouldn't have said to the Superman car because it doesn't exist. Batman's got the sickest shit, yo. And he fights the sickest villains. He fights really sick villains. The Joker.
I feel like
Bane.
we shouldn't bring up
The
villains
Penguin.
if we're talking about superheroes. I feel like
It's part of him. It's part of his aura. He fights cool villains. You don't
Mark,
have
I've got to
Batman
say,
without the Joker.
we're running hot on timer. You've got to give us another
That's right.
30 seconds.
I'm done. He's amazing in all media as well. Sick movies, sick comic books, if you like them, sick animated shows, sick video games. He's loved by all. Easy top 3. Easy top 3. I'm Batman.
Right.
Cool.
That was a great shout, actually.
Yeah.
Vinny, what are you bringing to the table?
we're not going to talk about it. Are we just going to go straight onto my fuck? That was fast.
Well, no, I thought we'd put like them all out there and then discuss.
And then
once
I guess
they're
we were
all out
discussing it as we were going on, weren't we?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine to go along. So
Sorry, guys. Those listening, we are kind of coming up with this format as we
no,
do
we're
it.
No. God, no. We've rehearsed this shit millions of times.
yeah, we rehearse these episodes before we
Yeah.
Yeah.
we do a few
Every time.
few runs over before we So
Every
we always
pedo joke's
outlines.
intentional.
Yeah. Every cut this is intentional. We write down our scripts. Cut this.
Comedy.
Yeah. Brackets. This will be funny.
Provided you're not from this ethnic minority.
Anyway, so for my first of 2 picks, I decided to go a bit more rogue, right? So everyone always thinks of superheroes as this kind of American thing mostly, or Western thing at least. But I think I'd like to bring to the table someone a bit, well, not American. He's Japanese really. So I brought a Japanese person to the table instead. So who my first pick is, stumbling my words a lot because I haven't written an intro, and you can tell I can't work without a script.
Is it Vegeta?
No, I've picked Saitama from One Punch Man, which you may have heard of.
Oh, okay. I've heard of One Punch Man, but I've never been really exposed to it. Is it only a comic?
No, it's an anime.
So it's everything that you think it could be. So essentially, it started out as a webcomic in 2009 by this dude who goes by the name of One.
2009.
And it was basically really crudely drawn, really amateurly done, because it was just this guy who had a passion in, I guess, superheroes and webcomics and manga and stuff like that. But despite it being super crude and super just amateur, because of its concepts and its characters, and especially Saitama and like the story that Saitama, the main character, goes through, it like blew up like massively, and it got its own like proper manga, like illustrated manga by like professional illustrators in I think 2012, and then in 2015 it got an extremely high budget anime season made about it, and that's basically where most people sort of knew about One Punch Man.
Yeah, that's where I found about One Punch Man.
Yeah, did you watch it, by the way? Or...
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I watched the whole season, but I think I watched most of it. It's very funny. It's a very funny concept.
I'm just looking up the original art for it now. It's fucking hilarious. It's like what I would draw.
It's really crude, isn't it? Yeah.
It's so bad. I mean, it's not bad. It's got charm. I can see what it is, but it's like it's drawn freehand by some random dude. Yeah,
it's not professional. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's done by a professional. Yeah,
it's like it's slightly more advanced than Stickman, basically.
Right. Yeah. So I'm going to give you a little backstory behind the character Saitama. So in the universe of One Punch Man, it's kind of like there's these Marvel universes, these DC universes, where it's like there's loads of superheroes, and with that you'll have loads of super villains as well. It's one of those things, but there's lots of them all, fucking about basically. They've all got their own unique powers, and then there's this sort of superhero governing body who like kind of register people as superheroes. If you want to be a superhero, you in that world, you have to like take these entrance entrance tests and like do well enough in them to get like ranked as a superhero. And it goes from like C rank to B rank to A rank, and A rank's like sort of, your Batmans, your Iron Mans, those sort of things. Yeah. And then you have above that like the S rank, which are like the ones that people don't really see much or very often because they're like so super powerful that they only really concern themselves with like the really important stuff that, not just like random crime fighting or whatever.
Aliens and shit.
Yeah, like the really existential like problems. So
sure.
And then, Class C is basically just guys who wear masks and have a passion for crime fighting and probably took a few karate classes back in their day.
Yeah.
So the story starts with the titular character, Saitama, and he is basically just the most regular average Joe you'll ever see in the street. He's just this random dude, essentially. Nothing special about him. And then he meets this half man, half crab supervillain who tries to kill this little kid, and he's like, well, I'm going to step in here because that's not right. And he gets his ass handed to him because this is this giant half man, half crab beast thing. But he does manage to kill him in the end. And then basically he's like, right, I'm going to vow to become a superhero. This is my thing. This is my new calling in life. And then it flash forwards 3 years later. He's now, he's dressed up in the most superhero garbage stuff possible. He's like a bright yellow suit with like these big bright red boots and gloves. He's got a white cape, and he's also got no hair. He's gone completely bald. So his head just looks like a big egg, essentially.
Yeah.
And
so hang on one sec. Has he got superpowers? He already had superpowers when he fought the crab guy.
He didn't, but now 3 years later, he's so unbelievably powerful. He can punch. Basically, he can kill anyone in one punch, which is the name of the show, One Punch Man.
How the fuck did he get one punch powers?
So, I'll get onto that. So, he decides to take the entrance test because he wants to become a superhero. This is like his calling as of 3 years ago. He takes them, he smashes all of the physical tests out of the water, completely destroys them, breaks all the records. But he's so bad at the written exam, and he fails so stupendously at the written exam that he ends up getting a C rank as like a super. He becomes a registered superhero, but he's ranked C and one of the lower ranked Cs as well. And to put this into perspective, another superhero around the same rank as him is literally just a guy who rides around on a bike.
Right, he's got no real powers. He just rides around on a bike.
He rides around on a bike and he tries his best.
And then this guy's like a fucking dumbass, but he can kill anyone in one part, like anyone, no matter how powerful they are.
Yeah, but he's the same rank as him because he's so bad at the written part.
So if he came up to Superman and punched him once, Superman would be dead.
Yeah.
Probably.
Fuck off.
That's the whole show. The whole joke of the show is it'll build up to this like really climactic thing and then he'll just kill them in one punch.
Fucking hell.
That's like the joke.
I'm not sure if I love it or I absolutely hate it.
But Vinny, you've got to tell him how he gets his powers, the regime he does.
Yeah. I'm getting onto this right now. So at some point in the story, this A-class superhero who's like beloved by the people, you know, he has action figures about him. He sees Saitama and he's like, this guy's actually really fucking powerful. I want to become his apprentice. So he goes to him and he begs, like, please take me under your wing. Please show me what it takes to become as strong as you. And Saitama's like, right, this isn't for the faint of heart. Like, this, only the most hardcore of hardcore can make it through these, you know, physical tests to get to my level. And he says, for the last 3 years, every day, he slept in an unair-conditioned room, eaten a banana for breakfast, completed 100 press-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10K run. And then randomly overnight, he lost all his hair and became the most powerful human on Earth.
No, he didn't. That's bollocks.
And every time he tells this story to people, they're like, that's not how it happened. Please, why are you lying to me? And
that's
like, nope, that's exactly what I did. I know it's pretty difficult, but I did it. And they're like, what are you talking about?
That's not that difficult. Why are you doing that? Make you punch a man? I thought it was going to be something crazy. Like, I had to start off with like an ant. I punched an ant until I could kill it in one punch. Then I moved up to like a hedgehog. And then a baby, and he was like, "Oh, it's brutal. I had to punch a baby until I could kill it in one." But then a bloke, and then
that's the
crab.
Genius. That's the genius behind Saitama, is that he's just this he's such a down to earth person. He's not like this super virtuous, like heroic man. He's not like Superman, who's like, "I will save the people." You know, he's not. People aren't looking up to this guy. He is just this fucking average ass Joe. Kind of a bit of an idiot as well, and he's really deadpan. And it's like the comedy in the show is just hilarious because of how extremely deadpan he is. Yet he's the most powerful human on Earth, like by far.
But is that actually how he got his powers? Like, is that the law accurate? So that is actually what happened. He's not making it up.
No.
And like he tells, and like people will be like, oh. Like the only hard bit, that's like the 10K run. That's not even that difficult. Doesn't one of the guys, like, isn't it when he does his test, one of the guys is like, that just seems like a reasonable workout routine for someone who wants to stay mildly healthy. It's just
exactly. I love it. Does anybody for breakfast every morning? Like that's
why doesn't his arch nemesis just do that and then put one punch to One Punch Man?
I haven't watched the show in a while, but I don't remember him really having an arch nemesis because he's this C rank superhero. No one cares about him. Like that's part of the fun of it. Is that like
mad.
He would destroy this like big monster or this supervillain or whatever, like with one punch, and then people would be like, "Oh, it clearly wasn't him. It was clearly some other like superhero who came in, destroyed, and then ran away before anyone could see it, basically." And no one would believe that he was the guy to do it because he's just a lowly C rank superhero. You know,
is it like a big punch, or can he just like go like bop?
You can do whatever, man, and it would fucking obliterate anything.
How do they know that? How do you kill like?
It explodes, man.
Rip its head off. It just explodes. Just like explodes.
Yeah, or rips his head off, or punches a hole in through their body. You know,
one of the first episodes is him dreaming over and over again of this huge, magnificent fight with this like underground, it's like purple lobster creature or something, and he just keeps thinking about it, he keeps dreaming about it, and at the end of the episode, it like rises up out of this like drain cover, and he's like, finally, a worthy match, and he just with one punch just eviscerates it, and he's just like.
Yeah, he's like the whole time he just spends the time just being really like unimpressed by these supervillains and being like, that was too easy.
So he's too overpowered for his own. He doesn't like being that powerful.
Yeah. It's very funny, but yeah, that's my pick, Saitama from One Punch Man.
So that is a great pick and is interesting.
What's that show on? I want to watch that.
It's on Netflix, I think. I think One Punch Man's on Netflix.
Not at the moment. I checked today, but it has been. So
it will be somewhere. And is it the only variation of that show?
So there's
there aren't like multiple.
No, well, there's the first season that came out in 2015. That's the only one I've seen. Then the second season came out, but it was done by a different studio. I think with a lower budget. The part of the reason the first season was also so good is it had like a really insanely high budget. So the fight scenes are like. Just insanely entertaining and like really, really well done, for example. But
apart from the fact they're over in One Punch.
Well, it's not. The thing is, it's not just him. He's not the only character in the story. There's other characters. There's other fights. There's other things happening. It's not just about him, but like he is still the main character.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very, very good. Very entertaining.
Yeah, defo watch One Punch Man. Well, look, I thought I'd go for a bit of a different tack as well, Vinny, which is interesting because I think we might end up with 3 or 4 picks that aren't traditionally what people might think of.
Spider-Man, Superman, Batman. Yeah.
Which is good.
They're fucking boring, apart from Batman.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So I thought it'd be cool to talk about what I think is probably the first ever superhero and definitely the longest standing and most remembered one culturally, at least in the West, I think, which is Hercules. Now, it's a bit of a weird one because there is some debate about whether he's a god or a hero, but he was definitely, when you research him, he is in half. So he's the closest thing the Greeks have to a demigod, but in terms of his story, he never ascends to Mount Olympus, so he is never classed as a god. He is a champion of man, which I think is very indicative of superheroes. Now, the difficult thing is we all say Hercules, and then we think of the Greek hero. But Hercules is the Roman name for the Greek hero Heracles. But Heracles is Hercules. It's just the Romans kind of stole all of their gods from the ancient Greeks and all of their folklore from the ancient Greeks. But the Roman one has a slightly different origin story. But because every time you say Hercules, you think of the Greek god, we're just going to do the Greek version.
Because I think I spoke about this when we did Greatest God, because I did Zeus, didn't I? And even Disney got it wrong. Like the Disney animated show Hercules, which I love, it's really good. It's one of the only Disney animated movies like that I love. He's called Hercules, and they're referring to the Greek god. Well,
exactly.
Hercules, and it's not. He's Heracles, even though he's basically the same bloke.
But I'm going to call him Hercules, but we're discussing the origin stories of Heracles, which is just Hercules. It's just a different name. Now, his sort of origin story, which again, I think is very superhero-y, is that Zeus, the god of all gods, sleeps with this woman while pretending to be her husband because he can do stuff like that.
Classic Zeus. He's a right player.
He's a bit of a wrong one, to be honest with you. And then Zeus's missus finds out, and she is raging. So she does a bit of sort of political bargaining and basically creates, it was very complicated in that very like overly Greek complicated way.
Yeah.
The long and short of it is he can't be a god. He has to be like, he's raised by men. And when he's born, Zeus's missus is like, that's not enough. I think I'm going to try and kill him. So she sends down 2 giant snakes to kill him. And his brother nearly dies. And then Hercules, who is a baby, strangles both the snakes to death with his bare hands. So he's already pretty fucking heroic.
Pretty powerful.
And then he has a bit of a troubled upbringing. He's this it's quite a sad story. It's quite tragic. He's constantly being chased around by Zeus's wife, who's like sending these monsters to kill him and stuff. He's constantly defeating them. He has a bit of a wobble, and he accidentally kills his music teacher and has to go and live in the mountains and raise sheep. He then makes the moral. Yep. He then makes the moral choice to become a hero, but he then is driven mental again and does a Chris Benoit and kills his whole family.
Classic.
What?
Yep. So he.
None of this really happened, Vinny.
He's like, this is just his origin story. So, it could have happened. I don't know. I mean, it could happen to Chris Benoit. It can happen to anyone. So he's like, oh, fuck, mate, I just killed my whole family like Chris Benoit. But I don't want to kill, I'm not going to kill myself. I actually want to rid myself of my sins. So the king says, look, I'm going to give you this massive list of impossible quests. And if you can do all of them, then you can be, you can be absolved of your sin, effectively. Now, I'm not going to go into all of the quests because there's quite a few of them. I think there's 15 in total. But the
Where's Danny DeVito in this story? Where's Danny DeVito in this story?
Well, I can't remember which character he plays.
The
little goat.
Well, I don't know where he is, mate.
He trains him up to be a hero, and they sing songs on that.
Well, I don't know if Danny DeVito's in the original Greek interpretation.
What the fuck?
I'm sorry.
What? Disney? Fam.
Lion.
They're lying. You tell me cars ain't real.
They also
the
missed out
lion?
the part where he murdered his entire family, like Chris Benoit style.
Like Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
So, hang on. So there is a lion. So I'm going to give you the 12 tasks he had to do. So he had to kill the Nemean lion, which is a lion.
Oh, yeah.
Had to slay the 9-headed Hydra. He had to capture the golden hind of Artemis. He had to capture the Arinthian boar, clean some big stables in a single day, slay some man-eating birds.
That seems so...
Hang on.
Yeah, what?
Imagine that. You go to the guy, like, what's my next one? Oh, kill the 9-headed Hydra. It's like, fucking hell, lad, all right.
Well, it's a stables...
And then, what do you want me to do now? Go and pick up some shit.
Well,
Sorry?
it's 3,000
Go in the stables and pick up some shit. How
There's
many
3,000
shit? 3,000. I just killed a 9-headed Hydra. I can pick up some shit. I don't need to do that. Go and pick up the shit, mate.
It does seem like he's just like making him do his...
Well,
Exactly. The king's just like, how much can I fucking get away with? Go and pick up the shit, Hercules.
Look,
And you did it.
Fags from the local...
Yeah. McCoy's in a 12, right? In a 12.
Look.
Which one would you suck off though? Now, Hercules, if you had to suck one of us off, which one would you suck off? Like he's like, oh, I'm not gonna suck anyone off. But if you had to, mate, go on. I bet we can get Hercules to suck one of us off.
Look, right. It was 3,000 cattle, and their feces was poisoned. Now, it's important to know that he achieves all these feats by using kind of his wit and logic as well as his strength. So, like, for instance, with this, he digs some massive ditches on the sides of the stables and then pushes the whole stables into the ditch so that the rivers wash them clean. So he's like using his brain a little bit. Do you get what I'm saying? So he kills some
his
big
brain
birds.
power to pick up an entire building and put it in a hole.
No, but it's still, no. But it's still thinking outside the box. It's a bit of both. He captures the Cretan bull, who is crashing around causing havoc. He steals some really valuable horses. He gets a girdle, which is like a kind of a thing that women used to wear to make like shapewear. I don't really understand why that was of importance. He's basically just like go and nick
Go
this
and cross
Amazon.
chess. But I can get him in women's clothing, Dave. But you fucking can't. Oi, Hercules, you dumb fuck.
Well, no, he doesn't have to wear
Put
it.
this on.
It's just the Amazon Queen's underwear. He basically just goes and steals for the king.
Nice.
He has to.
So he can sniff them.
He has to steal some cattle from a giant monster, steal some apples that are guarded by a 100-headed dragon, and capture and bring back.
100-headed.
This is his most difficult. Bring back Cerberus, who is
Cerberus.
is like a big fucking scary wolf dog thing,
Three-headed dog.
Hades'
Three-headed dog.
Yeah.
Hades' dog. So look, he does all of those adventures. They're like these quests. They're like his like different editions of the comics, right?
Right.
You know, Hercules versus fucking the stables or whatever.
The shitty stables, yeah.
What I think I define him as a superhero is that his mythology doesn't just end there. That's like the original series. But then there's loads of offshoots. There's thousands of stories about Hercules and all the different adventures he goes on to and all the different stuff. The whole thing is that in theory, when he did those original 12, he was supposed to get let into Olympus, but he never goes. He just carries on doing all these adventures and so he was never... He stays on Earth and kind of, saves the day when he can. And I just think, that's a superhero, isn't it? He's got superpowers.
Yeah.
And
he's dumb as fuck. So.
And most importantly, he was in the Marvel comics, which I think is impressive, not because it was in the Marvel comics, but because it's a character that was originally written like 3,000 years ago, and he's still relevant today, and he's still considered a hero. So, interesting. That's my first pick. Mork, let's keep this party going. What's your second pick?
Well, my second pick was a really, really hard choice. Because I was like,
Sorry.
Because I was like, I don't have anyone after Batman. I was like, who am I going to do now? And I was like, maybe I could go for Billy Butcher, my fucking hero, my love interest. But then he's not a superhero. So I was like, oh, fuck's sake. And then I was like, what about Omni-Man from Invincible? He's fucking well powerful.
Super
Again, he's not a hero. So... Then I was like, you know what? Maybe I could work fucking big man, big boy on the block, fucking Harry Potter into it. He's got powers and he saves the day, but he's not really a superhero, is he? He's fucking Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And then I got absolutely laughed out of the building for suggesting Pikachu, even though he has got powers. So I was fucking stumped.
It's not just one Pikachu. It's like an animal. In the world of Pokemon.
Yeah, that's like saying bear.
Hundreds of them. There's thousands of them. Cheese and cheese. They're all... Never mind. Carry on.
But I was stumped. I was like, I fucking don't know. I have no idea. So I decided to search for someone new. That's right.
Ooh.
Broaden my horizons. Read something.
But you don't like new things.
You can't read.
I don't like new things. I know I can't read. And... I was like, maybe I'll go and look for someone that I don't know that much about and see if anyone is really cool and kind of resonates with me. And I found exactly that.
Oh.
And the geezer that I'm putting forward is the guy who deals out the law more brutally than anyone else. The best street judge in Mega City 1, Judge Dredd.
Nice.
Now, I
Judge
only...
Judy?
Yes, they are cousins, I believe.
And Judge Rinder as well.
The arch nemesis, evil clone.
It's weird how their cousins will all have the same first name.
Yeah, it's very hick.
Sorry, carry on.
Now,
That's a really good, really stupid joke.
I only really know about Dredd vaguely. All right, so please don't annihilate me. But in the research that I have done of him, I want to say he's one of my favorites. Like he's going to be one of my favorites for sure, and I'm going to start watching everything that I can with him in because he looks fucking sick, and I want to pick him because
he's one of your favorites without having watched or read any of the comics or.
Oh no, I've watched some stuff of him. I've watched a lot of videos of him. I haven't but what I mean is I haven't watch a full movie. It's not someone I've known about for years and years.
Yeah, all right, okay. Vinny. Let's not go back to Metropolis.
Yeah, Vinny.
Yeah, but I wasn't allowed that, so I'm making sure no one's allowed it ever again.
But I've done as much research as I possibly could without sitting down and watching all the movies ever. But I will be doing that because I like him. He's fucking sick. And he comes from a dystopian future where crime is rife. Like everyone's fucking committing crime. That's like basically everyone's job.
I'm a criminal.
And street judges are the law, the jury, and the executioner. So these guys roll around. What?
He's called Judge Dredd. It's judge, jury, and executioner.
I know, but he's basically a police officer as well. So that's why I said the law, because I know he's fucking judge.
All right, sorry.
God, fucking English at my first language.
What is
Grunting?
Yeah,
Grunting and pointing.
Neanderthal?
yeah. I learned to grunt before I learned. Yeah, I could speak. If fucking Neanderthal gets defrosted like tomorrow, like get me up there, President Bush, whoever you are in charge, get me up there. I'll fucking speak to them. So these geezers, they roll around. They're the police, they're the courtroom, and they're the sentence bringer.
Right.
And so if you commit a crime in Mega City 1, Judge Dredd is coming after you, or one of the other judges, but Judge Dredd, he's the fucking best. And you either comply very, very quickly and you go to jail in an isolation cube for months or years, depending on what it is. Like owning sugar, having sugar's illegal and can land you like 3 months in an isolation thing. And weird, crazy stuff is illegal. You can't smoke unless you're in a smoking house. Loads of mad stuff. Or if you don't comply and you resist, you have a very short time frame before Judge Dredd decides, fuck you. Yeah, time's up. You haven't accepted your punishment, so now I'm gonna blow your head off in a fiery explosion and spill brains all over the wall. He will literally execute you on the spot, armed with his lawgiver sidearm, which has like multiple like fucking bullets, ammunition, exploding rounds, high velocity rounds, fire rounds, and it's all voice activated, so no one can rob it and start like blasting people's heads off. I think if they do, they get like, it fucking blows up and they get annihilated. But it's brutal. And it does remind me a little bit of Batman in the sense that it's dark and brooding and everything else, and it's like a little bit, you know, it's fucking raining all the time and everything's dark and he's like got dark costume and stuff. Although Dredd is obviously very R-rated with blood and violence and people's bodies exploding and people's limbs getting ripped off. And Dredd also, like Batman, rides around on a sick motorbike called the Lawgiver. And who doesn't like a fucking... What's the most badass vehicle on the planet?
The Batmobile.
A helicopter gunship.
A real one that you can actually see people driving around. Motorbikes.
Gunship.
Swift.
No, motorbikes. Badass guys ride motorbikes. Fucking big Harley Davidson, whatever.
They're badass ride motorbikes, I think.
Real
Don't tell that to a
badasses.
badass motorbike rider.
And you both motorbike riders.
I'm not badass though. But fucking Judge Dredd he's a badass. He's got a badass bike.
Right.
And he's fucking coming for you. It's gonna get you.
Oh no.
And Dredd is also supposed to never remove his helmet, which is a wicked trope. The Mandalorian tried to do it. Halo. You know, we'll get onto that in a sec. Master Chief doesn't remove his helmet. But, you know, in the Sylvester Stallone version of Judge Dredd, he does take it off, like, loads. Like, he basically only has his helmet off, which is fucked. And it's probably because Sylvester Stallone was like, oh, I'm the star of the show. How does he speak? I'm the star of the show. How does he speak?
Keep going like that. You talk like this.
Talk like this.
No, you talk like
I'm
this.
Sylvester Stallone. I'm the star of the show.
No.
That's it.
I feel like he's like a slow drooling Arnie.
No,
But he sounds like a dumbass.
I'm just Dredd.
I'm
Get the fuck out of here.
Hey, are you looking at me?
But, you know, Sylvester Stallone, he's obviously got to fucking make it all about him. So he was probably sending producers, you know, I'm the star of the show, not Judge Dredd. Who the fuck is Judge Dredd? This movie should be called Sylvester Stallone. And so he demanded his helmet was off at all times. So they done...
I'm always demanding people take my helmet off.
Take it actually off. Like, rip it off. Is that sexual? Is that supposed to be sexy? Is that a sexy joke? Rip my helmet off, please. I want everyone to rip my helmet off. I don't... Vinny, are you into that? I mean, fair enough, bruv, if that's what you like. I mean, I'm not kink shaming or anything, but...
She nearly took my helmet off.
You know, I guess it's better than sucking your dad off in an Amsterdam glory hole, isn't it, boys?
Yeah. Yeah.
or getting sucked off by a monkey. That one was so.
Oh no!
That one was so good.
Okay.
But anyway, so they done Dredd dirty there, just like Paramount Pictures done. So please stop. Just like Paramount Pictures done Master Chief dirty in the Halo show, which is something I would love to get into one day. How fucking horrible that is, and how they ruined my boy. But anyway, Dredd is fucking cool, and I just love like the alternative spin on a superhero. Like, it's not fucking cheesy, you know, Spider-Man swings his webs, fucking swings every day. It's like fucking brutal. Like, it's absolutely brutal. And although it's fantasy, it does feel grounded in the world it's set, which I think is important. Like, it feels like the world it's set is believable, and he's a believable character within that world. And like, this could really happen if the world went that way.
It makes some interesting statements about like the current state of policing, especially in America, where they shoot first and ask questions later, and people die, and people do get their heads blown off for parking fines or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And it's more real. It's more real. Like, if Superman existed and we wrote an actual realistic Superman existing comic book, like we've seen various other publications, you know, do spin off. Like, there'll just be a fucking pile of bodies so high it would like reach fucking space. Like, it wouldn't be great, it would be shit. But in Judge Dredd's world, it feels grounded. It feels like this is what it would really be like if someone like this kind of existed and everything else. And hang on.
Loading.
And it's because I
Can't
read
read?
forwards and then ad-libbed it, and then I had to go back and read. Actually, shit.
Well, I've got to say, Mork, you're running low on time. You got to.
It's okay. I'm right at the end. So, I think, you know, Dredd's an awesome hero. He's dark. He's mysterious. You know, he doesn't take his helmet off. He don't fuck about. If you break the law, every bone in your body is getting broken. And I love that. I love the gore and the violence. It's fucking epic. Like, it's real. Like, yeah, if Superman punched a bad guy, it would fucking explode. Judge shoots someone in the face, his head blows up. Makes sense. And he could probably have most lads in a fight. I reckon he'd easily have most lads down the pub in a fight. Like, 100%. Like, he's a superhero. He'd fucking batter you. Do you know what I mean?
Mark of a great superhero can have most lads down at
He'd have anyone spoons, mate. He'd be collecting bodies, mate. He'd be fucking
collect at least
ripping them apart.
60% of the bodies there, at least.
Yeah, he'd have most blokes around.
Not all of them. That's ridiculous.
No,
most.
All of them. He'd have them all.
Judge Dredd versus
that's too far
Ronnie
for me.
Pickering.
Too far for me.
Mate, Dredd would batter Ronnie Pickering, I'm afraid.
He wouldn't.
He'd have them both at the same time. He'd tie Rasputin's massive cock around Ronnie Pickering's neck and strangle him to death with it.
That is an image. If we ever get big enough to have fan art and people are listening back to this retrospectively, please draw that and send it to us.
Please
don't.
I'll fucking love to see that. As violently and graphically as possible. But one of the biggest reasons why I picked him is the 2012 live action version, Dredd 3D or just Dredd.
Is that
which
the one
I have seen
Stallone?
No, it's
not.
not.
Carl Urban.
No, don't say that.
Why?
Cut that. It's the 2012 one, which is Judge Dredd, you know, Judge Dredd 3D, Dredd, just whatever it's called. And I've seen most scenes of it, and it's considered amazing and the best Dredd has ever been on screen. Carl Urban plays Dredd masterfully in that movie. And of course, he also plays Billy Butcher in The Boys. So somehow, some way, I have actually picked my hero and the love of my life as the winner for me. Somehow, some way.
You always find a way. Love finds a way.
Always find a way. Love finds a way. Billy, I love you. Kiss.
I find it really interesting that you picked Judge Dredd and you seem to be enamored with Judge Dredd when he's kind of just sounds like a Nazi fascist police officer who's sort of like, it's my way, and because it's like, if you commit any sort of crime, and in this world it seems like if you breathe funny, it's a crime. You know, you are dying. You're fucking dying. It's like, that sounds great.
I thought the whole thing with Judge Dredd is that I didn't know that he was a superhero. I thought he was he's like an allegory. He is a fictional character that represents something. But I don't know if he's a superhero, is he?
I've seen him on
This just
superhero
seems like
lists. I've seen him on anti-hero lists. He's
Seems
in
like a
comic
police
books.
officer.
He's basically a superhero.
It's like a fascist.
He's probably
police
racist.
officer.
He's got as many powers than he must, but no, he's not racist.
hates
So in
women
like one of the,
too.
he's not. He's not what you're thinking he is. He is a fucking hard.
Does he have a
brings
Blue
fucking
Lives Matter
pain now.
badge?
No, he doesn't. He's not about that. He's like the opposite. The other judges are like that, Nazis, and he fights them as well. Like he's like the main geezer. He's the best one. He's not like a cunt.
He's just like, I just think all lives matter. I don't understand why you're
not a
special.
robot. He's not RoboCop. He's like a regular bloke.
What are his powers? What are his powers?
Being
He's got like
racist.
the same powers like Superman, Batman, anyone like that. He's like not really actually got powers. He's got cool gadgets.
So he's like
fucking
strong,
Superman.
he can fight, and he's got guns.
And
Yeah.
he's racist.
He's not racist. He
Racist Simpson's superpower.
no in the movie, the Dread 2012 movie, he's not a misogynist, racist, whatever, because he's training up this chick to be another person, street
A
judge,
yeah.
and he's also not just like, oh, commit a crime, right, you fucking dead cunt. He kills the guys that deserve death if they're really bad criminals, because there's this other geezer who's like, as they're going into this place to fuck up the actual criminals, he sees this other guy who's committing a crime. He's like begging on the street. He's like, that's fucking nothing. And he doesn't just like go to him and kick him in the face. He's just like, don't be here when we get back, mate, and I'll fucking let it slide. Do you know what I mean? So he is fair like that. He'd get mullered by his fucking superior officers if he don't kill that guy, basically. But he's like, you know what? I'm fucking Judge Dredd. I can. He lays down the law. Do you know what I mean? If he decides a sentence ain't worth it for that geezer, he's the court as well, isn't he? He's judge, jury, executioner. He can be like, yo, fam, don't worry about it. But he fucks up the real meanies.
I thought you hated the man, and so I'm just very disappointed to see you so affectionately kissing the police's ass.
Yeah,
What?
right.
He's not real. I do hate the man.
ACAB,
He is the man.
He's like, yeah, but
Anyway,
he's bad at. He kills people. And that's
literally
also why I
just
like.
spent the last 10 minutes talking about how you're a Nazi sympathizer, and that's
No, I
my
didn't.
job.
I didn't
So-
even really mention his political stand once. I don't think I mentioned. I said
you
he's
didn't-
fucking cool and he
You
can
didn't
have anyone in
mention
a
it
fight.
because it's obvious, mate. He
No, it's
listens
not. I
to-
like him because he kicks the
Right,
shit out of
that-
people.
When he's got that helmet on, all that's playing is podcasts with Andrew Tate on it.
No, it ain't. He'd batter Andrew Tate. If he saw Andrew Tate in the street, he'd be like, human trafficking, your sentence is death. And fucking batter the shit out of him. When he'd stamp on his head until it was mush. I like him because he kicks the shit out of people and it's violent. I don't like him. I'm not like, oh, I love Judge Dredd, mate, because I fucking hate poor people and like criminals and that. Oh, I love the man. Oh, big up the Tories and that. No, it's not about that.
Mate, he's just Robo-Tory. You absolutely
He's not a-
You're a narc, mate. You're an absolute narc.
Right, do you want to know the real truth? I saw that Carl Urban played Dredd and I was like, is Dredd sick? So I looked at him and I was like, oh, you know what? He is sick. Fuck it, I'll pick him.
Well,
'cause Carl
sometimes
Urban
you got
played
to
him.
think, look, many of people have been cancelled for less, mate. Watch your fucking step. Now, Vinny, what racist have you picked?
so the racist I picked today, no,
Adolf Hitler.
cut that. He's not a racist, I swear. No, so okay, so right.
Yeah.
I've been reading a superhero comic,
Ooh,
Whoa, actual real life.
a real
Or in
superhero comic, and it's the only superhero comic I've ever read in my life. And I'm
Yeah.
most of the way through it now. I've got like a quarter left. I really, really like it, and it's a little comic that you might have heard called Watchmen, which obviously
Can I
yeah.
just ask you something? This might sound like a fucking dumbass question, right?
go for it.
Because I've never read a comic either. And obviously a comic ain't a book. Really, is
No.
it? It's pictures and words.
No,
Is reading a comic something you kind of have to get a little bit used to when you first pick it up? Is it a bit weird to read a comic at first with like the way that the panels are and everything else? Is it actually
would-
a little bit difficult to read a comic until you start getting into it and
I would
almost
s-
learn how to read a comic?
I would say the only thing I sometimes slightly struggle with, because I haven't read many comics in my life, is just the speech bubbles and knowing in one panel
Who's saying what where?
like what order things are saying in. But
Yeah.
generally it's made to be easy for you to sort of see
Understand.
you see what goes next and stuff. It's
I'd
sort
say
of
the
like made
hardest,
like that.
one of the hardest things about reading comics, like I've read a fair, I went through a phase of reading a lot of comics. I don't read them so much anymore, but I went through a phase where I tried to, there was a new run of Spider-Mans, and I tried to read all of those. I think I read like 20 or so of them. But the hardest bit is not burning through them really quickly, because you get this thing and you've paid like 10 quid for it, but it's not actually very long. So
you can read it quite quickly, yeah.
Yeah, you get home and then you're like, oh, I'll just read that comic I just bought. You can read a comic in 25 minutes, 20 minutes. Like, it's really like...
Yeah,
it's not super dialogue heavy. Yeah.
So I think I would recommend, like, if I was recommending, so because I have a few of these now, is buying the big, like, book versions of them. So, like, when they put a whole series run in a big, thick comic. Yeah. Because that's much better. So, like, I have...
the ultimate, whatever, they've got a collective or something they're called, aren't they?
Yeah, so it'll be like, I bought one that was, what's the one they just did on Disney Prime and everyone hated it because it was really bad? Secret Invasion. I have the whole of Marvel's second run of Secret Invasion, like, as a book. It's like this thick, and you can just read it from start to finish. And I think that's a lot nicer than, like, going to the shop and buying comics, like, kind of as an adult. It just doesn't really work. I think, like, it works for kids because a book that big might take a kid quite a long time to read. But I think as an adult, I'm not saying comics aren't good as an adult, but I think you kind of need, like, a chunkier thing to get through.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just end up being a bit like, oh.
I think also because it's, you know, most of the panels will be filled with illustrations and art rather than dialogue. You sort of have to look at the illustrations a lot more, not just like just read the dialogue. It's not, you don't just, you know, you're missing more than half if you're just reading the dialogue. You have to be like, it's you know, some of the artwork is what really makes a lot of these comics. And
I guess as well, from someone who's not done it, but you can look at the illustrations, i.e., oh, okay, so he walks in the room and then he walks over there and then he punches that guy, and that's like, you've read the three things. Or you can really look at the illustrations and actually appreciate each panel, look at it in detail, like, oh, cool, kind of get into it, next one, kind of cool, and like, take your time. I would say,
definitely.
Cool. Well, there we go. That was a weird tangent, but it's interesting.
Cool. Sweet. Yeah. So
tell us about Watchmen.
I've been reading Watchmen, and it's really, really, really good. I think it's a sort of comic that I think people who don't like superheroes would probably like, because it's basically like, without Watchmen, I don't think you'd have shows like Invincible or The Boys.
No, you definitely wouldn't.
It was the first, I believe at least, I might be naive here, but I believe it was the first comic to kind of ask the question, what if the superheroes were bad people, or like super morally ambiguous, or just
dickheads,
or just regular people who have their own regular, you know, pros and cons and good and bad about them. And so that's what it
divulges into. Really existed.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about Watchmen is that there aren't any superheroes in it. They're all just like Batman. They're all just like masked vigilantes who are just good at fighting and like running around in spandex fighting criminals. And after that, they're like, yeah, that was kind of silly that we did it, because it takes place a long time. It takes place sort of after that sort of stuff's been banned. So it's kind of like, but anyway, that's besides the point. But there is one actual superhero in Watchmen. Like, categorically, he has superpowers, and he is the most ridiculously overpowered superhero in any work of fiction I've ever read or watched or whatever. So, John Osterman is the name of this fella, and he's a German-American scientist with a PhD in atomic physics. He accidentally gets stuck in a test chamber at his work, which leads to him basically just getting disintegrated. After this tragedy, everyone at work starts seeing these strange apparitions appear and then disappear within seconds, just for the next few months. And as it turns out, these apparitions are actually John sort of forming into a new body. So first you kind of see he would appear as like just a disembodied nervous system with like a floating brain and floating eyes, and then disappear. And then a few weeks later, he'll like appear as like a partially muscled skeleton of himself, and then disappear, before finally popping out as this tall, hairless, muscular, blue-skinned man. And this is essentially the end of John Osterman and the beginning of Dr. Manhattan and this is the name of my second superhero, which I picked today.
He's always naked.
Yeah, so
But he's got like a Barbie doll dick, and every time, yeah, no, he actually has. Every time
no, he doesn't.
He's got like a smooth.
Got pants. He's got like little pants.
Oh, he's
on.
got pants.
He's got pants, but you do see his massive dong sometimes.
Yeah, basically in the thing of it, like, 'cause they try and make him wear a superhero costume. At first, he's like, yeah, okay, I will. But then over time, he's like, nah, I just want to be naked. So he basically would just walk around naked because, like, who's going to tell him not? Who's going to tell him no?
I thought, because I think I've seen the live action movie that
the 2009 one, I think.
Yeah, something like that. And I swear, like, you can see his ass, and then you can see like he's got like a Barbie doll dick. But maybe I'm misremembering.
You see
that.
his dick in it.
Maybe that's a Mandela effect.
You do see his dick.
His actual dong.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the bit where he's like crashing over Vietnam and he's like burning people, and then you just see his huge dong like swinging.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He's just.
Can
naked.
Can I Google Dr. Manhattan dick or not?
Of course you
Go
can.
for it, man. It's not legal.
The Fed's gonna get me. I'm doing it. I've done it. Oh yeah, there is his dick. Oh yeah.
And that's another episode of Oh Yeah, There's His Dick with
With more. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So, I'm going to get into the superpowers of Dr. Manhattan and what makes him so ridiculously overpowered. So, here's the laundry list of superpowers he has. He is immortal. He doesn't need food. Doesn't need water. Doesn't need air. Doesn't need sleep.
Doesn't need air.
Never gets tired. He's invulnerable to any harm and can perfectly regenerate himself if somehow damaged. And then he also can see time. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. He has complete and total control of all particles and atoms and the subatomic particles all around him, being able to literally destroy any of them, reassemble them, manipulate them, create anything to his whim. So he can literally kind of do everything, and he's basically God. So not only that,
and he can't split himself into multiple versions of himself
he
as
can
well.
make himself big, make himself tiny. He can make 1,000 of themselves. You know, he can fly. He can phase through matter. He is.
Because there's that bit.
Sorry.
There's the bit in the Watchmen film where he's like, his girlfriend's like getting annoyed with him because she's not spending enough. He's not spending enough time with her because he's like working on this project for the government.
Yeah.
And then he like splits himself, and she thinks he split himself in two so they can have like a three-way. But then it turns out that there's actually another, like the main version of himself is still back at work.
Yeah. And she's like, that's fucked. Yeah.
This guy's ridiculous. I thought like Homelander was a cunt and impossible to kill. This guy.
He's essentially God. He is quite.
The boys would be
fucked
fucked trying to take this geezer down.
So this is the thing. And like, the other thing is he kind of sees time, all points of time at the exact same time, all of the time. So there's a really, really cool chapter in the comics where it kind of explores his origin stories and like how he feels and stuff like that. And at this point he's fucked off to Mars because he's pissed off with everyone. And in the comic, in that chapter, it's like he will just be like, right, it's 1973. You know, I'm walking in an amusement park with my girlfriend. I've just bought her like this and that. I want something at this amusement park, and like also at the same time, 10 seconds in the future, I've let go of a picture of me and my girlfriend, and also 55 minutes in the future, there's a meteor strike that's happening in front of me. Also, 30 years ago, like my dad said to me this, and it's like all of these things he's literally perceiving at the exact same time, and it's so like well done, and it's really interesting, and you kind of get a sense of why this guy basically is not human anymore. And like this is why he's a really interesting character, because he's essentially God, but despite that, his coming to Earth, his creation, in most sort of comic books, most works of fiction, I feel like most people would be like in the streets joyous, like, oh my God, yes, we've literally got God on our side. You know, we could end world hunger. He could just give everyone food. He could stop disease. He could make everyone live to 130. You know, he could end, you know, all
cure
wars,
cancer right now, whatever.
all cancer ever, you know, make a cure for cancer. but that's not how people see him in Watchmen. When he comes into creation, a lot, and people say this a lot in the comics, there's like a really cold shiver that runs down everyone's backs when they realize just how unnatural this thing is. It's not even human anymore. Like, the fact that he can see all these times all at once, the fact that he can multiply himself a billion times, he could phase through matter, he could disintegrate your heart without you even noticing. He could make
scary.
A second. It's terrifying. It's like an existential horror, and that's what makes him so interesting. And he can't at all relate with humanity anymore, and he's sort of has this profound loneliness in him because of this.
Yeah, because it's like if that existed, you wouldn't be like, yes, we're saved. Like everyone can, you'd be like, we're fucked. So like if this guy's like, fuck you guys, what do we do? Like it's the same thing as kind of like as like the Homelander with the boys. It's like if this guy turns around and goes, you guys, fuck you guys. What do we do? What's our plan? We can't stop him. He could just annihilate us all. We got to keep him on side. Like this is terrifying rather than a miracle. Yeah,
exactly. And there's a kind of funny, there's this part of his origin story when he does his first like mission for the US government, because they sort of make him his puppet. It's to kill this like mobster, I think, in a club in like Russia or something. And because he's just so apathetic towards humanity, and he just is so not human anymore, he is just in the middle of this club, and he just decides, he flicks his wrist and the mobster's brains just fucking explode in front of everyone, and obviously it causes a massive scene and traumatizes everyone in the club. And the US government are like, don't do that again. He's like, I don't get what the problem was. I killed him, didn't I?
You know? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he can't relate to it anymore, can he? He's not related. We can see a billion timelines. It's like, your problems are insignificant.
Exactly. And there's also a really terrifying passage in Watchmen, because it's set in the 80s, and it's sort of set in the Cold War as well, and there's this sort of looming threat of the Soviets and like the nuclear warfare. There's a lot of sort of this looming threat of nuclear warfare happening as the story progresses. And there's an excerpt in an in-universe book, which it like shows you a few pages of partway through the chapters, that talks about this guy who's like, you know, this guy's writing about Dr. Manhattan and saying how Dr. Manhattan's become this sort of anti-nuclear deterrent for America because, you know, they have God on their side, so why bother sending nukes their way? But he sort of theorizes that despite them literally having God, he can't actually be everywhere at once, and so if they were to send nukes, he would only be able to stop about 60% of them, and 40% of those nukes is enough to annihilate the entire human race. And that's like, and even though they have God on their side in this world, that's still not enough to stop like this horrifically existential horror. And that made me feel that gave me a shiver down my spine when I realized this is still a thing that's very real in our world
today.
And we don't even have God to fucking stop at least 60% of them. It's
if a nuclear war happens, we just don't even bother. Don't even bother feeling sad. You're going to be eviscerated in about 10 seconds. Don't worry about it.
It's I think he's just a really fascinating character. He's kind of the opposite of Saitama from One Punch Man, where they're both super overpowered in their own worlds, but Saitama's really down to earth, and that's what makes him really relatable and kind of funny and very endearing. Whereas Dr. Manhattan is so not human, it just makes him fascinating.
Would you say he's a superhero?
Yeah.
Is he a good guy though?
I mean, you get into the topic of morals. He does like stop crime. I haven't finished the thing yet, so I don't know if I've gotten to the bit where he's like, yes, this whole time I was like, yes, crime stopping. But I mean, he did do lots of crime stopping for, you know, maybe for his own reason, maybe just to appease people up. Who knows why?
So did Omni-Man. You said I couldn't pick Omni-Man. He stops crime like his whole life. It's only at the end he's like, actually, big lie. But then I guess he is intentionally written like that to be a bad guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think that's a really interesting pick. I hadn't thought about Dr. Manhattan. He's a scary one because he is one of those ones where like his powers are so massive that it's kind of difficult to it's difficult to see the challenges he faces become quite philosophical rather than physical, because like he can do anything and be anything.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
There's no point putting a challenge in front of him. No one's going to stop him. It's not like, oh no, how's Dr. Manhattan going to fucking beat the Joker? He'd just kick the shit out of him. Like, he can't, there's nothing you can do. Yeah, very philosophical. Has he got any weakness whatsoever?
No.
Is there any way to defeat him at all?
There's no kryptonite or anything, no. The only way,
kind of part of it.
Nuke him.
Yeah, the only in the comics, like I said before, they basically piss him off enough that he's like, fuck humans, and he just goes off to Mars and just chills there. And that's basically how they get him out of the picture, and how they make these conflicts of like the whole conflict of the comics happen, because he's like, I'm done with humans, I'm not helping them anymore.
They couldn't even throw him into the sun.
Fuck. Well,
they couldn't throw him into anything.
He can walk on the sun. He does it at one point.
Also, yeah, he is literally impossible to kill. Even if he had a weakness, let's pretend he's got a weakness. I don't know, if you shoot him with a silver bullet right in his fucking eyeball, his head's gonna explode. It wouldn't happen because he can see all time all at once. So he'll see you shooting that bullet and he'll just stop you.
Yeah, he has because he can see time like at all points. He has a very deterministic way of things. Like, he doesn't, I think, mess with the determinism of time. He just goes.
So if something's going to happen, he lets it happen, right? Okay.
I think so. I think
he's watched the butterfly effect, and he's like, "Fuck that shit." Fair play. I mean, he's seen all times. So he's probably seen that movie like 1,000,000 times.
Exactly. He's bored of it, mate.
No, that's cool. Fair enough. And I learned that he does actually have a dick, so that's good.
Does have a dick.
I mean, that's good to know for a start. Well, that brings me, speaking of penises, that brings me on to my final pick, who also has a penis. So my second pick is of Rogue One, not Rogue One the film. Obviously, that's an awful joke. That's an awful joke. Please cut that.
That is such a bad joke. Keep that.
I don't even know if that was a joke. It was just
that
like me kind of riffing on a thing. Anyway, look. My second answer is an answer that I nearly gave last week, but I decided to give it this week.
For philosopher,
because I wanted to pick a character
a fucking philosopher nowadays, isn't it?
I wanted to pick a character that may not traditionally be considered a superhero, but I think has almost all of the tropes that are needed for someone to be a superhero, and I think is probably the first superhero of the last century, I believe. And if you're still in the dark, it's pretty elementary. I'm of course talking about Sherlock Holmes. Now, what? I know.
You can't. Fuck this. You can't be like, yo, I'm picking Sherlock Holmes, and I can't pick fucking Omni-Man or Pikachu.
No. What do you mean? Because, right, so
how is Sherlock Holmes a superhero?
Because a superhero.
What about Harry Potter? Okay, Harry Potter's a superhero.
No, right.
Why not? Harry Potter can literally do magic.
Yes, but everyone else can do magic in his universe, so he's not special. Okay. The Oxford English Dictionary definition of a superhero is a benevolent fictional character with superhuman powers. Okay? Mm-hmm. Harry Potter is not superhuman because everyone in his world has his powers. He's not even the most powerful wizard.
Not muggles.
Batman doesn't have superhuman powers, does he?
Well, he has powers that he's like created. And like right.
That's no. I'm good with this. Don't listen to Mork. I want to hear what you have to say about him.
I know that I wrote this here. I said I know you're going to say this is bullshit, but let me tell you about all of the tropes that he has that makes him very similar, if not the same, if not the forefather of the modern superhero. Firstly, he's a fictional character. Secondly, he has a selection of superpowers. Obviously,
he's a fictional character. Why did you write that?
Well, because that's an integral part of being a superhero. It's a fictional character with superhuman powers.
ChatGPT says he's a detective and not a superhero.
Well, ChatGPT is going to take your job, so I think maybe don't give it too much. So, the most obvious superpower, the most obvious superpower would be his genius intellect, which is superhuman. It's above anyone who's ever really existed. He is more intelligent than anyone who's ever existed. His intellect.
Sorry, I mean seriously. In the Sherlock Holmes universe, he's like cleverer than Einstein.
Yes.
So you can why is he bothering detective shit? Why don't he just
that's
solve
the whole
physics?
point of that's his whole thing. Is like his brother Mycroft also has the same intellect, and his brother Mycroft deals with like big government problems and tries to save the economy and all of this stuff. And then Sherlock Holmes realizes that it's not really worth it, and he should just use his intellect day to day to try and like help things. He is like superhuman. He sees everyone in his world as like little ants. They're just like nothingness to him.
So Stephen Hawking, a superhero, because he's clever.
But because he is very intellectual. He doesn't have a superhuman intellect. So like, for instance, Sherlock Holmes can walk into a room and look at all of the evidence around a crime scene and build like a fictional data map in his head and work out the chain of events that happened precisely using that data like he's a supercomputer. That is not something any human can really do, even Stephen Hawking or Einstein.
Well, ChatGPT says that he is a master detective who uses his powers of observation and deduction to solve complex cases, but he does not have any supernatural powers or abilities. Additionally,
superhuman. Right, if you are so unintelligent that you can't concoct your own argument, you have to resort to an AI. I'm not listening.
I just googled Sherlock Holmes and ChatGPT came up.
ChatGPT top 3 superheroes, and then just read that, and then we'll call it a day. That'll be our entire script. Sorry, Seb.
I'll give you a case to why he is a superhero, and then when we discuss who the top 3 are,
I don't care what ChatGPT says, because ChatGPT has objectively not read all of the Sherlock Holmes itself. It may have had that data given to itself, but it can't like look at that and then make a decision. I have read all of the Sherlock Holmes books, and I can tell you for a fact his intellect is above that of a human. He is superhuman. He may not be magic, but neither is fucking Batman. So suck a dick. He's as superhero as Batman. Okay. Now, secondly,
feisty.
he does have other powers too. In the books, in the books, he's described as having unbelievable strength and fitness for a man of his stature. He famously bends a fire poker in half with his bare hands.
Sherlock
he can run
Holmes
really long distance. What? Yeah, he's really strong. He
Why?
Climbs mountains because his intellect. He's like, the whole point of Sherlock Holmes is like he is above the human problems. Like he doesn't need, like for instance, there's a bit where he survives in the Hound of the Baskervilles. He survives on Dartmoor for like 2 weeks with no food. And he does this like really long trek from one house to the other to keep an eye on 2 people every day. And he like runs back and forth with no food because he doesn't need it, because he's like elevated himself above hunger. Like he may be hungry, but he doesn't feel hungry. He just doesn't. He can run a really long way, not because he is fit enough, but because he can just go into a headspace in which that is possible. Which is obviously not true, and therefore makes him a superhero. One of the things that I think is the most, I actually think Sherlock Holmes is a really precise case study in the arrogance of the human condition, which is that people read Sherlock Holmes and think that they could be a person or that they could do what he does. But he is a fictional superhero, but because he is mind over matter, his superpower is mind over matter. People think, well, if I think like Sherlock Holmes, I could walk into a room and deduct what you can't. No one can.
Oh no, of course he's fictional. He's made up. Yeah,
what if
exactly.
you're a savant?
Stupid.
What if you're a savant though?
Well, but that's the thing. There are savants, and yet no one can do all of the things he can do. A savant might be able to like look at a map of Brooklyn and draw it from memory, but they can't then use that to solve crime. You know, he's almost like he is omnifaceted. He's multifaceted. He has all of these different abilities that he then uses to to create like one thing.
Yeah.
He also has loads of other tropes. He fights for justice. He's always risking his life to save others, even though he knows that his life is worth more in the sense that he can achieve more. He will always sacrifice himself to save.
Arrogant.
Well, exactly. But he is arrogant. Superhero is arrogant. He has an unwavering sense of morality. He has an arch enemy, right? Who
Moriarty.
You know, Moriarty. He has a secret lair in 221B Baker Street. He has a base of operations, a little hidden base, and he has a fucking sidekick who is his human counterpart to show the juxtaposition. Watson is a normal person, and he cannot do what Sherlock Holmes can do. And I believe that he is, as a result, the most long-standing and well-remembered superhero of the last century. Everybody knows who Sherlock Holmes is. Everyone. He is probably one of the most famous literary characters in history, without a shadow of a doubt. He's definitely more famous than Harry Potter. He's definitely more famous than fucking Gandalf. He is Sherlock Holmes. Everybody knows him because he is the first true superhero.
I would say, yeah, everybody knows him, but do they really know him? If I asked anybody, like, Sherlock Holmes, what is his character tropes? They'd probably be like, oh, he's got a fucking thing, and like he's well clever in that. Does he solve crimes?
Nobody doesn't know that Sherlock Holmes is a detective. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
No, that is not the most
absurd.
ridiculous thing in your life. There are fucking stupid people out there. There will be a lot of people
no
that are
one
like,
knows that Sherlock Holmes is. No one goes, he's clever, but I don't know what he does.
No, they'll know that he like does that, but they might not know him like
I know.
really know him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't think that even matters because they still know him. Like,
but they might not know who his arch nemesis is. They might not know who his sidekick is. They might not know where he lives at.
Sherlock Holmes is more.
If you ask anybody, who does Harry Potter fight? Voldemort.
No, but I know that in the UK, yeah, but I honestly think more people would know who Sherlock Holmes is and what he does than they would know who Batman is. I really truly believe that. If you said
know.
But does he run around in spandex?
But I don't think
I feel like that's the most important thing.
Well, he has an outfit. That's the other thing. He has an outfit. He has a superhero costume.
But is it
might not
spandex?
be. Yeah, but neither's Judge Dredd's.
Neither's Dr. Manhattan's fucking naked.
Dr. Manhattan has butt naked, yeah.
Yeah, so that's...
Well, he wore a costume at one point, then just got rid of it.
But Sherlock Holmes has a superhero costume. He has the hat and the pipe and the fucking coat. That's his costume. He is a superhero. He is everything a superhero is. He has powers. He has a costume.
It feels so dirty. It feels so wrong, though.
Does it?
So dirty.
I don't know.
It does feel very wrong.
What? So walking into a room and going, blah, 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 I know all of the answers to everything that's ever happened.
I feel like if we're already not sure whether Batman's a superhero or not.
But we're not sure that Batman's a superhero. He's obviously a superhero.
We are, because we debated. We said he doesn't actually got any superpowers. Yeah, but so technically, is he even a superhero? I know you're going to be like, oh, well, Sherlock Holmes has got superpowers.
But what I'm saying is, Batman obviously is a superhero, isn't he? He obviously is. He's Batman.
Yeah. He's written on purpose to be a superhero. I feel like...
Oh, so Sherlock Holmes. He just wasn't in a comic.
Yeah, well, Sherlock Holmes doesn't have a... He doesn't, Sherlock Holmes is Sherlock Holmes, right? He doesn't have a secret identity.
Yeah, neither does Dr. Manhattan.
No, but let's imagine we're in the headspace of the writer. Yeah, let's imagine we're in the headspace of the writer.
Everyone knows no one knows who fucking Iron Man is. That's not a secret. Everyone knows who Captain America is. You don't have to have a secret identity to be a superhero.
No. But let's imagine we're in the headspace of the writers for 1 second. Please just do this exercise, me. You're going to write Batman. You deliberately write a superhero character who fits all the tropes of superheroes. No. But let's get in the headspace of the writer of Sherlock Holmes. Does he sit there and go, I want to write a fucking superhero?
No, because they didn't exist when he wrote it. He invented it. He was the first superhero. I said that at the start.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but like we've said before, sometimes the invention of the thing, like with rock and roll, the invention of the thing isn't necessarily a thing. It's the things that come after that really solidify the genre.
No.
The first rock and roll song.
No, that's like
Yeah,
me saying
that's
no. It's like me saying the first guy who made a sandwich, right? He's like, I want to make this thing. It's going to have 2 slices of bread and some bacon and some ham and some cheese in the middle. And he makes it, and we go, oh, that's a sandwich. And then you go, well, no, because when he was making it, he didn't think I wanted to make a sandwich, so it doesn't count.
I think that's a bit different because we're going back now and saying he's a superhero because of what we know now.
Yeah, and if he made a sandwich, I'd go back and say that's a sandwich.
I don't think that's the same thing. I think Vinny feels the same way as me as well.
He wrote a character that is in every single facet a superhero. He's more of a superhero than fucking Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd doesn't have any powers. He just is a cop who murders people.
No, he's got powers. He's got the same amount of powers as fucking Batman and every other superhero. He's not racist. But I've seen, when I've been Googling, I've seen that a lot of people say he is the precursor to superhero, potentially. But I don't know if that is an achievement in itself and that sets him apart. But I don't know if I would band him in with superheroes. For me, it doesn't feel like a superhero to save the day in that way.
But then,
he's like Luther almost. He's like an exceptional.
Like Luther, because because Luther doesn't have superpowers.
Isn't he?
Yeah, but being really, really smart. Yeah, but is it like grounded in the reality of Sherlock Holmes that his brain isn't just the really clever. He's not just like fucking well clever. He's actually so supernaturally clever, superhumanly clever. It is supernatural and superhuman on the same thing. It's beyond humanity. Is he supernaturally clever? Well, he's supernatural brain.
But that's what makes us. But is Batman supernaturally Batman?
No, but he's deliberately written not to be as a superhero, though, isn't he? It's about intention, maybe. I don't know. That's what I feel. I think I would say for me, he's not a superhero. But
I just think, but also he laid the groundwork for superheroes, which are like Dick Tracy is a superhero. He's just a fucking detective. But he's a superhero.
He's definitely not a superhero.
But he's got comic books. He's classed as a superhero. The Rocketeer is just a bloke who makes rockets, straps rockets to his back and flies about.
What about Heracles? Isn't he technically the precursor to superheroes?
Yeah, I said this century with Sherlock Holmes.
This century.
And also, what about Heracles? Does that not count?
Yeah, I think Heracles is more of a shout of a superhero. He seems more supernatural. I think that's what it is. Like you said, everyone thinks, someone might think, I pick up a book and, I could be like Sherlock Holmes. Well, I know they realistically, most people can't, or maybe anyone actually can't, but it still feels like you can. You know what I mean? Like, it still feels within the realm of possibility that someone could be very Batman. Smart and very into detective work and be so mind over matter that he could apparently not eat for 2 weeks and run between that sounds so, I'm sorry, that sounds really silly. Like running between two.
I don't know, I don't think anybody thinks to themselves, so reads Batman and goes, I reckon I could do that. Easy. Yeah, I reckon I could be a billionaire with gadgets and superhuman gadgets and shit like that. And like no one's like sat there thinking, I could be fucking Iron Man. He's basically just a fella.
Yeah, he's just
because it's super. It's kind of it's completely out of the realms of our comprehension of like, I could be Judge Dredd. No, you definitely couldn't because it's so supernatural. It doesn't have to be supernatural like you can fly, but it has to, I think it has to suspend reality to be supernatural to a point of it's not natural in this living realm. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying that's just what I would say. Fair enough, precursors to superheroes. That sounds fine.
This is my
nobody on Google. Google does not.
I don't care about
Google. Was a rapper. At least MF Doom was a rapper.
I don't care about Google. I don't care about ChatGPT.
But But that's fine. It's okay for you to think of him as a superhero. I think that's fine. It's for you. He's a superhero. Your fucking dad could be a superhero. Mine's not. I was gonna make a massive joke about picking him, but I didn't. But like, people can look at anyone as a superhero. There's some little cunt out there who thinks the actual Rock is a superhero.
No, but I'm not doing that because he's a fictional character with superpowers. I'm not picking my dad.
Does he have superpowers?
Yes!
Supernatural superpowers.
Yes!
Or is he really clever?
But he's not really clever. He's superhuman levels of clever. He's cleverer than anyone could ever be. What do you mean? Is it written down? It's in the fucking. Read the books.
Yeah, but is it written like Sherlock Holmes was born with supernatural brain power?
It's like
what's
Sherlock
his origin
Holmes,
story?
Well, he doesn't have an origin story. He's just the most intelligent man on earth. That's his thing.
Albert Einstein's not a superhero.
No. Because he is the most intelligent man than fucking Albert Einstein. Because it's not real. It's not real. The book isn't. The book isn't set in real life. It's not like Sherlock Holmes is a real man who was as clever as Einstein. He's cleverer than Einstein because he's fictional. He's the most
within
clever.
That fictional Rome, he's the most fictional person in the world. He's the most within that fictional world. He's the most clever person.
Yeah,
in the world.
one of like 2 or 3. Yes.
2 or 3. So the ceiling for cleverness in that world is higher than the ceiling in real life. So he's just a really clever bloke.
People are more clever than they are like
really clever
superheroes. They're like abnormal. They're like what's the word? They're like supernatural. They're like these entities that exist that no one can come even close to.
I'll agree. Let's agree that he's like a set the way for what superheroes would become. But I can't bundle him in with Superman.
My heart rate is pounding right now. I'm genuinely furious.
I can't believe you found something that you're so passionate about. I didn't know you fucking love Sherlock Holmes so much.
We
gotta rate him. Yeah, we've got to get our top 3.
Yeah, I think we should.
I don't know how we're gonna do this. Should we do
what we did last week with each of us get 1 vote? Do you think that's?
Yeah, we all.
Yeah, maybe. Or like for me, I don't think listening to everybody's. I will already discount Dredd because I don't think he's up there with the best of the best. He's really cool for me, and I love him, but he's not. He's not up there with the best of the best. So I'm going to take him out.
He's out of the running.
I also don't think Sherlock Holmes is
with that, you're also saying Sherlock Holmes is not real. That's fair enough, I think.
No, you guys are fuckers. Honestly, the listeners
if I
are going
have to
be
pick someone as a
outraged.
superhero, they're going to be like, what the fuck is that talking about? Sherlock Holmes is not a superhero. But if I had to pick superhero Hercules to be a superhero, I'd pick Hercules over Sherlock Holmes.
I prefer Hercules to Sherlock Holmes personally as well. It's just because he's like supernatural because he's like half god. So like there's that supernatural element.
Yeah, but Batman's none of those things. I don't understand why the rules
He's
are so
supernaturally
liquid.
good at making these crazy little gadgets, and
He doesn't make them. He just buys them.
He buys them from who?
I don't think he does. He like invents them. Him and Alfred, they have like their whole research development.
No,
thing,
there's
don't they?
Thingy
makes all that
Fox,
shit up.
Jacob Thingy Fox, who's played by fucking Morgan Freeman. He makes them all, doesn't he?
But he's supernaturally like no one fights.
What is he? He's
in that world.
supernaturally what?
He wears spandex, right? He wears spandex. He's got a secret identity. That's another thing.
It's not for us to debate whether Batman is a superhero. He is because the writer said he is a superhero.
And
I'm writing a superhero and he is a superhero. So it's not us to debate based on tropes because the writer of Batman said, this man is a superhero in this world. I'm writing him. Batman
that term
equals
didn't
superhero.
exist before Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes made that a thing. Like he created that.
That's what I'm saying. So we're going back and giving him that label based on our
But
modern
that's okay. We're going back and giving Hercules that
may have
label.
started. Yeah, mate, that's debatable too. It is debatable. Because technically, he's not a superhero like that. He's a god, isn't he? He's a mythological deity.
This is why I'm starting to get frustrated. You keep saying like he's a thingy. They're all pretend. So he's not really a god. He's a god in his origin story. Sherlock Holmes, you can't be like he's not a superhero. He's a detective. Yeah, but it's a story. So like Batman's not a superhero. He's a man dressed as a bat. Like what? None of them within their own universe think of themselves as superheroes.
No, not within their universe, but I think the intention of the writer is what sets it apart, isn't it?
Right, so Sherlock Holmes and Hercules don't count then? Because the intention of the writers was not to write a superhero.
No, I like Hercules. I think he's a good shout.
Yeah, I like Hercules.
I know, but this is what I'm finding frustrating is I don't understand the logic in Heracles over Sherlock Holmes.
Because he's supernatural. That's why.
But then it's that.
If I had to pick one or the other, yeah.
But then Batman had, for example, Batman has other things. He's not supernatural, but he has other things that clarify.
Yeah, like the identity and the. But then Sherlock Holmes has all of those things.
He's not in the comic. He doesn't have the identity. He doesn't wear spandex. He's a very, very clever man. Does he have a comic? But he didn't star in comics.
No, but he has an outfit. He has a sidekick. He has a secret base. He has superpowers.
I know, but I just feel like it's one of those where it's like it just doesn't fit the bill.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel right.
I'm raging.
It's like pushing a square peg in a round hole to make it go, and you go, but it does go in, but you've shaved off some of the other bits.
But
I haven't. The goalposts.
I've just made a really good argument.
No, it is a good argument. I totally agree. It's a precursor for superheroes, but I just don't think it's a superhero.
Right.
I don't think he's a superhero. He's not a hero. He's not heroic. He's not like.
What do you mean?
He's solving crimes. He is solving crimes, but he's not a hero shining light for the people. Though
He is in the books. Everyone fucking loves him. He's fucking famous. He's Sherlock Holmes.
Well, when I watched Robert Downey Jr. do it, he seemed like a bit of a moody cunt.
Don't watch that.
That's just me poking the bear. That's what. So is hang on. Last point then. Is Robert Downey Jr.'s version of?
Yes, because he slows down time and fucking discombobulates.
He doesn't actually.
He just
no, because it's a film, isn't it?
He thinks really fast, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the suit. If you can think so fast, you can slow down time.
I know. I could do that. When you think really fast. when you have a couple Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Time does move.
You guys are infuriating.
Who are we putting in?
Are we doing votes, or are we just having because I feel like we're not going to agree with this already.
I think me and Vinny agree with Heracles.
I like Heracles.
And Seb obviously agrees with Heracles. Because Seb picked him. So we can put him in there.
Right.
I think we can put him in there. I think Batman has to go in. He's fucking.
I think Batman's
he is
cool.
Batman.
I think Batman has to go in.
Yeah,
and then
he's an absolute icon.
And then I think it has to be One Punch Man because I'm not convinced that Dr. Manhattan is a good guy.
Yeah,
he doesn't do any good stuff.
He does. He fights crime.
Yeah, but he does it in a bad way. He's definitely not like a true superhero. Like even the story you told about him solving a problem was him like vaporizing a guy's head. It's not very.
Well, yeah, he was told to assassinate this person. He just did it in a very
literal sense.
Not in the way they wanted him to do it, basically. And that's just one. That's just one story. He's done lots of
I just feel like
crime fighting.
In the film, he just felt like he's kind of a dick.
Well, the thing is, the film's different from. Don't base it off the film. The film's not a good representation of like the characters in the comics. I'm not talking about the film version of him. I'm talking about the comics version.
Okay.
Right, okay.
And he does lots of good. Like, for example, there's this riot that's breaking out, and he's like, "Well, I've seen the future that like 2 people are going to die from this riot." So what he does is he just teleports everyone back to their homes, and that's a good thing. He did a good deed. He didn't have to do that, but he did a good deed.
Also, he's so powerful. He's almost like out of the bounds of morality.
Yeah, it's a funny one with him.
I don't think being a good guy all the time, because superheroes make mistakes. Even in like every single Iron Man, Superman, Batman, they always do something where they fuck it up, and they do something to break their morals to save the day in the end or something. But I do think he is a superhero. Having said that, I don't know that much about either of them, and when you did explain it, both of them, I definitely wanted to watch One Punch Man more than Watchmen. I feel like I want to see what One Punch Man is all about. I want to explore that character more than this fucking terrifying demon. Do you know what I mean?
Also, yeah, that's the thing. Going back to what you said about Sherlock Holmes, I don't think Dr. Manhattan was written to be a superhero. I really don't.
They write him to be a superhero. What do you mean? They literally say he was the first superhero. Before then, there wasn't actually any super. Like they say it explicitly that the old superheroes are dead.
They might use that. they might use that word, but do you not think that the point of him as a character is that he's a vehicle for this narrative about the Cold War and about good and evil and about being amoral, and he's quite conflicted. He's not like a hero. People don't even like him.
He is a hero. He does lots of good deeds. It's just that he's so ambivalent towards everything that it seems like he's not. He seems ambiguous, but I mean, he does lots of good deeds. So surely that it's the deeds that make the man, not the.
That's true. I still think, in terms of like the way they're written, the way they're designed, I think One Punch Man would be a more
apt
pick,
right?
In my opinion,
I kind of like the One Punch Man guy
Saitama
more. Saitama,
yeah.
Just call him One Punch Man.
Saitama.
I
like Egghead more.
Egghead. Okay.
Yeah, I think I would pick him as more of a traditional superhero, and I think
that's it.
But then we need to rank them top 3.
I think Batman number 1 because he's sick.
No. I think we do it on who would beat who in a fight. And obviously, One Punch Man. One Punch Man goes top.
Yeah, but you can't do that because that's not just about it, is it?
One Punch Man goes top.
That's like every Reddit nerd ever on Reddit going like, oh, power scales and shit. Oh my god, do this guy and all this crap.
I actually watched a really funny video today. It's like a minute-long video of Stan Lee. Like, he's saying like, people always come up to me and they say like, who would win in a fight, The Thing or Spider-Man? And he's just like, whoever I want them to win. If I want Spider-Man to win, he'll win. If I want The Thing to win, he'll win. It doesn't matter like what you think might happen.
It doesn't matter.
Whatever the writer wants to happen, that will happen. So like, but it's just quite funny.
Well, mate, Sherlock Holmes would discombobulate them all and fucking.
Would he though? Because One Punch Man would actually kill him in one punch. So
no, just discombobulate. You've not seen that meme? Anyway.
But we Hercules, One Punch Man, and Batman.
I'd say Hercules 3, Saitama 2, and then Batman 1 for me personally.
Oh, really?
I was Batman.
I just think Batman's sick, to be honest. He's really cool.
But think of him though; he is Batman. Think of every movie he's ever been in.
Doesn't even have superpowers, man.
He's been in. Think of all the movies he's been in. All the games. There's Lego Batman.
Oh,
There's
it's
fucking
so big.
Batman toys, everything. But he is massive. Who's out there going, Daddy, please buy me a Sherlock Holmes toy. Daddy, please buy me a Hercules toy. Any of these guys. What do the kids want?
We were going
what
off
do the
market
kids want?
value.
Batman.
I didn't realise that.
But all of these things make the top superhero.
I would have picked the base character from Fortnite if we were going off market value.
But it has a bearing. It all comes together as a complete package, doesn't it? I think Batman would be number 1 because he is the number 1. Like it or hate it.
I fucking hate it.
Escape. You can't escape how big he is. He's massive.
Mate, I'm rageful.
I feel like that's the right choice. I feel like that is,
This is genuinely the most emotionally pissed off I've been at the end of an episode ever.
Well,
I'm not even going to bring Kang the Destroyer back or whatever his name was.
Do you know what, Seb? Is this the first time you've felt like this after an episode? Probably.
I feel like this after every episode, even when I win.
Mate, I am dabbling into angry wank territory right now.
Please don't have an angry wank.
That's good, though, because we've all had, me and Vinny, we've had episodes like this where we're like raging. Remember when I was doing the fucking, what was it? The Matrix shit?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't
a valid
answer.
Remember Gandalf? Yeah, neither Sherlock Holmes. That's what we're saying, Seb. It comes around.
It is a valid answer.
Your time comes. The time was come.
I cannot deal with you.
I don't think Seb can close. Shall I close this one, Seb? Do you want to?
I reckon you close it, Mork.
Shall I bring Kang the Destroyer back?
Go on, bring Kang. I want to hear his lovely voice again.
Let's hear him one more time. I like him.
I want to see that.
We tried to do this short. We were doing this so well. We were going for a short record, and it went long because of Sherlock Holmes.
It's your fault, Seb.
He's a super villain. He's fucked this record up.
I'm back. And I have to say, I actually disagree.
Right,
quite
shut the fuck
heavily.
up. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
Fuck on again. We'll batter ya.
I have returned. Present to me your 3 greatest heroes.
We've got Heracles. You ever heard of him?
Fantastic choice. Very, very clever.
And then we've got Saitama from the popular manga, webcomic, and anime, One Punch
The
Man.
One Punch Man.
You know, so-
Never faced a greater foe.
He'll fucking
tell
knock
me.
you out.
Who is the king of your heroes?
Well, there's only one king. He wears a black suit with giant nipples, and he speaks very similarly to you. You'll like him. It's Batman. A Batman.
Who?
Yeah.
Batman.
Batman. He is.
Isn't he just some rich bloke who uses gadgets and that? He doesn't
No,
have any powers.
You're thinking of Sherlock Holmes.
Okay. Well, I shall face your 3 heroes in combat, and we shall see who wins exclusively on Patreon, link in the description. Now, back to my home planet.
Jolly little
Anyway.
laugh though.
That was a bit jolly. Yeah, that's right. Well, I think he was very happy with our choices.
I think really happy with number 1 especially.
Very happy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Seth's quitting this show forever because Sherlock Holmes isn't a superhero.
No. Oh dear. Right. How many episodes is this? 76
75.
episodes, and you finally
75.
rattled me. Oh dear.
Finally, yes, we've got him. Sherlock Holmes isn't a superhero. Who would have wondered that would be your kryptonite?
Right, anyway, look. Thanks everyone for listening. It was a nice short episode this week. It'll be a joy to edit. And I can't wait for next week where we're discussing the greatest angry wank we've ever had.
Seb's pick will be the one right after this record.
But no, it's been a pleasure to chat with you and for you to fucking spike my blood pressure as per usual. And, you know, we'll all see you back next week for another episode of this fucking twaddle. Love you. Goodbye.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.
That's you two actually next time.
No.